So take me back. Let's talk about some of these artists you mentioned. Like, definitely for me, all the guys on the Northern Touch single, which is a Rascals. It was on the Rascals album, but it's you know who it is. You know, Rascals, Choclair, Cardinal, and Thrust.
Thrust, yep. Nobody can bang with us.
We ain't notorious, huh? Ain't nobody can bang with us. Rascals, Checkmate, Cardinal, and Thrust. Choclair coming down with the Northern Touch. Yo,
which is very, very. I said to you on Signal, it's very flip mode influence, right?
It is, yeah.
That's dangerous. When it was cool. You should have a healthy fear of us.
Drunk, afraid of us. You know this ain't the game to us. You strange to us. That's when we getting dangerous. Come on.
This is serious. We could make you delirious.
Right.
You should have a healthy fear of us. Cause too much of us is dangerous.
Yeah. That's when it was cool to have like a hip hop clique. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was it wasn't like individual artists or even like groups. And it was the same thing with like the Canadian hip hop artists. You know, that each of them had like their own style, their own flavor, but it was like they were all together. They were always like linked up. You know, you didn't really ever see like beefs between Canadian hip hop artists, or at least not that I can remember off the top of my head.
Right.
Most of them like would collaborate and work together, be featured on each other's albums, etc. So that was like to me, that was a high point. Like that's when I really enjoyed the music and the culture.
Well, there was a strong sense of solidarity, and on Northern Touch, there's a lot of Van City to T Dot. I think Rascals have a line Kelowna to Kalamazoo in one of their songs.
In New York they want me, and I'm gonna be there. That city's calling, and I'm gonna be there. In T Dot they want me, and I'm gonna be there. All over the world.
Yo, all over the world, spread the vibe. Big dogs from the west, we ride with the raw stride. Me amigos at my side, ready to take the world on, do or die. Yes, I used to read the Psalms and a Holy Quran. Now I only read the birds and the trees. Then I'm gone like a breeze on a summer day. Never run away from the judgment day. When Armageddon comes, say if I had 24 hours to live, here's what I do. I'd make everybody know G.O.D's inside of you. And spread love from Kelowna to Kalamazoo. Cause no matter how many you call, the chosen are few.
Aha, I made a fortuitous fuck up. That line about Kelowna to Kalamazoo is in the song by the Rascals, but it's by their guest artist, Chaos. The other featured artist, of course, is Barrington Levy, who's a dance hall reggae legend. But Chaos is another major Canadian rapper who, in the early 2000s, was dominating the Canadian airwaves and, music video channel with his song Crab Bucket.
Walking down Young Street on a Friday, can't follow them, gotta do it my way. No fast lane, still on the highway, moving in and out, no doubt there's a bright. No time to get down, cause I'm moving up. No time to get down, cause I'm moving up. No time to get down, cause I'm moving up. Check off the crabs in the bucket.
Like just a broad, because they had to stick together. There weren't that many of them. And in some ways they were like modeling for the rest of Canada what national unity could look like. I mean, when I was growing up, Toronto was the enemy. I mean, and of course, because we felt like you guys thought you were the center of the universe, and you didn't.
Because we are.
Well, I know that now.
Yeah. We were the only like Canadian city that had like shit going on. I mean, Montreal was like a cultural center for a while. It was a business center for a while, and then now I think it was like after there's a couple of companies that ended up leaving Montreal to migrate to Toronto and Waterloo that pulled a lot of business with them. But along with that came like a burgeoning Toronto economy, and along with a burgeoning economy comes burgeoning arts culture, etc. Yeah. So Toronto and Montreal ended up, becoming rivals for arts and music. And Vancouver was just like, Vancouver was just like the little stepbrother that tagged along behind, something like that.
Yeah, the good-looking, vain, shallow stepbrother.
I mean, yeah, sure, if you want to call it that.
It's a good-looking city. It's a good-looking city.
But the thing is, I'm being a dickhead right now because like we're in like the current moment where Canadian cities are large enough to rival one another.
Yeah.
Whether it's in like hockey, whether it's in the arts, music, whatever. But back then, like I don't remember any kind of division between the cities. Like if you were from Montreal, it was like, it's you from Montreal, all right, you can hang with us. If you're from Vancouver, it's like, all right, well, I'm never going to be there. I don't know what your city looks like. I've never seen you before. Your accent sounds really fucking weird to me. But yeah, sure, you can come to the dance hall with us too. It was all love. Like, it's all good.
Well, likewise.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Rascals won Rascals made kind of Canadian music history because they won the Juno for Cash Crop.
Right. Well, hang on. Didn't they refuse?
Yes, they did.
Refuse it one year, and then the following year they won. Yeah.
Well, no. Next year they won for Northern Touch, I think, but they refused it. Or I might be wrong about that, but certainly they refused it because, you remember why?
Well, they were saying that like urban music is not respected at the Junos. So like hip hop music is not respected.
Yeah, and concretely because they arrived at the Juno ceremony a bit late, and they were informed, "Oh, you won the Juno. It was not televised. The best rap album was not televised."
Okay, I didn't remember that part.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, that's wild.
And that's
not surprising.
The next year it was, so they changed that.
No, and what's kind of wild to me is that like it took so long for hip hop to even become like, even though they ended up winning a Juno in the hip hop category, like hip hop as a genre, like not as a niche genre that deserves its own award, but like for a hip hop artist to win like best artist or anything to that effect, there was just no respect for that for the longest period of time. It was only like I would say like the last like 2 to 3 years that the Junos have actually begun recognizing hip hop artists as like mainstream pop artists, and begun to celebrate them. I mean, first of all, I never fucking watched the Junos. To me, it's just like an incredibly segregated experience.
Let's go back to the 90s and Canadian hip hop. You mentioned Choclair and Cardinal Official.
Right.
Can you think of any like songs of theirs or lyrics that stand out to you as like sort of their high points, or any of these other artists we're talking about?
For Choclair, oh wow. Although Choclair's like sort of like breakthrough single didn't happen until I think it might have been around 2002, 2003.
Let's Ride.
Yeah.
Stop it. My UVs will burn your skins and your optics. 21 years is groundwork. People hear me coming, so haters got mad work. But understand it's all about the swab, diggy dogs. Let's ride. If you feeling my vibe, then we can all just ride. If you wanna get down, then we can all just ride. All my people, throw your hands up high and just ride. Where you from, east side or west side, just ride.
And he was doing like hip hop singles, and he was featured on mixtapes prior to that, because I left for the United States in like late 96 or late 97 sometime, and I remember seeing like Choclair posters around the city prior to that, and Cardinal Official, I think he had just released a mixtape prior to me leaving as well. Like I would see the posters at the bus stop.
It was a cool and lonely official style that coerced her to smile, chalk another to the fire. Quest for breath, my intent to impress the mistress. Success broke the ice like Gretzky. I told she, give me a signature and number. Number could follow if I check you tomorrow. Cool. 8 simply went to my gates, down my bell apparatus and switched to player status with the fattest appeal.
What was Choclair's single from? It's gonna come to me. Oh, it was with Julie Black. It was called "What It Takes."
Okay.
That was That was the one Choclair song that I'd heard prior to me leaving for the States, and I didn't even hear that on the radio. I heard that on somebody had like dubbed, because that's how you like got music back then. We didn't have Spotify, we didn't have Apple Music. What it was that you tuned into a radio station on your boombox, and you hit the record button on a blank cassette tape, and then. Yeah. So whatever ended up on a cassette tape for that particular night, that was like your little mixtape or whatever. And a friend of mine had asked me if I had heard about Choclair. I'm like, yeah, I've seen his posters and whatnot. He's like, no, you got to hear this. And that was the song that he did with Julie Black. I don't even remember none of the lyrics though.
I got it right in front of me. Let me refresh your memory.
Okay.
My style will lock you down and get your brain stimulated.
Decapitating people with my penny jacket and orchestrated mad flavor on this paper and ill behavior. I be favoring some skyscrapers. I be looking oversized like snipers. Watch my crossfire when my shots ring to bust up your cipher. And lighters be flicking, so fluids on empty. You deed. My style rolls like a stampede.
Oh man. Oh my god. That takes you back to like waiting for Mississauga Transit so I could go to Square One and holla at girls. That was me back in the day. Oh man. Yeah, I barely remember like anything about that song whatsoever. He
calls himself a raw chief rocker. Check the chiz naka. I like that.
What I want, such a stinking mouth child. I'm that one, that persona. Finds the illest lyrics, having breakers on the floor, be shaking like the epileptics, fresher than some chloroseptic over squirt from Banaka. Man, a raw chief rocker. Check the chiz naka.
There was a song by was it YOK called Sunlight?
You all know, except the swell guys who take lies and wear ties and the right size canines. I wouldn't buy your whole fries. I knew too much lies, they really don't realize I'm wise with these eyes. Speaking of eyes, my eyes have been seeing this belief in these bros without no Caribbean background. And still busting slang that's Jamaican. I'm not Jamaican, but at least the first generation.
And there was that song by Rascals called Dreaded Fist.
Yeah,
that was dope because I was like super into kung fu back then, and I think like along with Wu-Tang Clan doing like not just like music that was influenced by Shaw Brothers kung fu movies, but they'd also do music videos that were reminiscent of it. The Rascals did a similar thing with Dreaded Fist.
The champion is me, red one. Cause I be the all veteran, me I the all veteran. I'm getting on with the knowledge to make moves strong and abolish. Terrorizing tracks like Genghis Khan, we be the rawest. Artists from Northwest Saigon, and that's word to the uplifted fist of the dread clear. Cutting MCs like Macmillan Blodell. So go tell a friend and so on and so on. The movement of this dreaded fist no longer will be slept on. Dreaded fist of the Northwest, gotta be cautious how we exhibit our style to the people. Little doses leaves comatose kids. To match the fist, there is no equal to this.
But yeah, that was one of my favorite songs back then.
Dreaded Fist, yeah.
And I'm trying to think of anything else that I remember. There was also what was the name of that group that Tom Green was with?
Tom Green.
Yeah, Tom Green, like the comedian Tom Green.
You can put the cheese in your bum.
I'm sexy! I'm a sexy boy! Ding dong! Ding dong! Ding dong! Ding dong! Ding dong! Ding dong!
He was in a group.
Yeah, Tom Green was a hip hopper. You didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, he was with this group. He was with this hip hop group, and they filmed a video done by Jane and Finch called "Check the OR." TTC.
It's like the white trash Beastie Boys.
Check the OR, you like it so far?
I know this song. Yeah.
Check the OR, check the OR, you love the OR. Here we go, ready to set it off. Coast to coast, it's the most and it hits rough. Organized rhymes, here to start it up. You got some trouble with your mouth, you better shut it up. Think twice before you act and try to tackle the funky stuff. I take your suckers out like meat on a shish kebab. And you don't know it, but your girl's doing kiss and rob. And you're the one who wants the corn, but you miss the cop. So here's a bit of something new. Give me a toot and salute.
This is Curtis Blow baseline, right?
Yeah. I got a ride and
like the Curtis Blow break.
I grab a horse and I jump like equestrian. I talk smooth like Lando Calrissian. Deal with the leader of the convoy. Make some noise for the.
I grab a horse and I jump like a question. I talk smooth like Lando Calrissian.
Calrissian, yeah.
They're okay. They're all right.
Brought that back.
They're all right.
That was nice. That was all right. You know, and that was like the early 90s though. That was I think I might have been in grade like 7 or 8 when that was around. But like you would still hear that at like hip hop parties. Like after the Beastie Boys, they would always run Organized Rhyme.
I mean, I can see why. It's great. It slaps.
They would put them at school dances and whatnot.
I just remembered today that Main Source is part Canadian. Large Professor and these 2 Canadian DJ producers were Main Source.
I did not know that.
Now this is how we do. At the age of 19, heard the scene. A lot of MCs that do not come clean. Frontin' on dealing hard times and rhymes. You see them in the streets and you see no signs of the hell. And they get on stage and tell some old cornball war story. Ring the bell. Word. You're faking the funk. Talking that extra hard junk, you're probably a punk. And I'ma let you know that this way you just don't cut with the artificial flow. Neat things try to break backs and necks. When fakers try to front, they'll get smoked like blunts. My rhymes penetrate like skunk. Get your word up. I think they're faking the funk. You're faking the funk. You're faking the funk. Yo, you're faking the funk. You're faking the funk.
I don't think it's it's that well known. I had to find it out from Wikipedia.
Okay. Yeah, and I guess like while I was living in Florida, it was okay. So I was living in Florida like at 2 points in my life. Once when I was like 8, 9 years old, and once in my later teens, up to like I think I turned 21 in Canada, but prior to that, I was living in the US. So in that intervening period, like the only Canadian hip hop that I heard was Northern Touch, and when I saw that, and it was on MTV too. When I saw it on MTV, I went buck wild. I was like, "Oh my god, it's Cardinal Official and Chocolate! And, oh my god, the Rascals! Yo, they're on MTV. It's crazy." And I thought there was going to be like this huge like explosion of Canadian hip hop in the US, and it didn't quite materialize. But it's okay.
Track. It's a great track.
Yeah.
And I saw a YouTube video recently from like a couple of years ago of all of them performing it in Vancouver for like the 20-year anniversary of it. It was really touching. It was really touching, and Cardinal still just moves the crowd like crazy. It's awesome. And then sort of slightly later than that, you get groups like Swollen Members. Were you into them also out of Vancouver?
No, not at all, actually. No? I wasn't.
Their album Balance is good.
There's a certain kind of hip hop that I'm not really into, which is like I don't know. It felt like the skater dude hip hop. You know what I mean?
Like the super backpacky stuff.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I shouldn't say like I'm not into the backpacky stuff, because I was like heavy into like Jurassic 5. I liked.
What about like A$AP Rock?
No, I didn't like A$AP Rock. I liked Juggernauts. I liked Company Flow.
Jesus, Juggernauts are good. And Juggernauts and Company Flow together, Indelibles.
I know.
The fire in which you burn
slow. Now we can all become Lord of the Flies when this industry sees its demise. Huddle up in tribes when it tries to get zapped with dead eyes. The 5-pack seems guaranteed to get fucked up and get touched.
Now we can all become Lord of the Flies when this industry sees its demise. Huddled up in tribes and destruct, you get zapped with dead eyes. The 5 factions are guaranteed to fuck up and get touched. The group hugs you receive from the support group can't protect you from the bum rush.
I know.
And that's got that line, I wasn't born in the manger, but I still received 3 gifts. Alphabetically listed.
They're Big
Mr. Len.
And I
wasn't born in a manger, but I still received 3 gifts. Alphabetically listed, they're Big Just, Mr. Len, and I.
And he's been asked about that because what the fuck? It's not even in alphabetical order.
I wasn't born in a manger, but I still received 3 gifts. Alphabetically listed, they're Big Just, Mr. Len, and I.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to figure this line out since that album came out.
Basically, it was a joke.
Fuck, really? Yeah. Are you serious?
Basically, it was just obvious that I was wrong.
Oh my god!
Yeah. I know. Whatever. I don't give a fuck. It was a great song.
And it had Jay Treads' verse, which is incredible, right? Because on the mic, I got more presence than attendance in a class of schizophrenics.
The most high exalted, mind blower. When I rap it is strictly, I can't believe he just said that shit material cruise. Who can't think straight sober? My flow's over your head. I enjoy the aerial view. Focus from the bird's eye. In my scenario of dominance, defeating weakness. When bum rushing like dirty communists racing. My iron curtain revealing my words the gospel. No apples or giant serpents. The enlightened apostle J. Trez. I lace heads like tennis players top seated. Not needing to cause a racket or front the menace. My words speak for themselves, so feel me. Cause on the mic I've got more presence than attendance in the class of schizophrenics here.
Yeah. I know. Oh Amazing. My god, that was so great. But I mean, they're not Canadian, so I guess we can't really go too deep into that. But yeah, those are the kind of people that I was into. But Swollen Members, I don't know, I just wasn't really. They kind of like came across to me like a precursor to the, I don't know, like the Kid Cudi kind of, like kind of like the Kid Cudi era,
I know nothing about Kid Cudi. I know the name. I've seen it. I've never listened to it.
Just like the stoner sort of like laid back kind of like,
well, look, but the album
and just like hang with your boys and play Tony Hawk kind of hip hop.
I'll only push back on that. On one album, the album Balance from '99 is actually good boom bap shit.
Where we're going, don't stress. There'll be plenty of time to rest.
we're going to wrap, do you have any closing remarks about what we've been talking about? Where do you think Canadian hip hop is going? I guess we've just been sort of talking about that a bit, but like, yeah, any final reflections? Any political rappers out there today who are talking about the kinds of topics that concern you in your work?
No, political rappers have, as a genre, pretty much died.
Yeah.
As a friend of mine says, I don't want to hear that shit. I want to hear negativity. I want to hear about cutting up coke. I want to hear about big booties. I want to hear about some nasty shit. I don't want to hear about any of this politics or positivity bullshit. And I can't really argue with that.
Unconscious rap.
Exactly. At the same time, I really do hope that again, a lot of people make fun of UK rap and the sound that's come out of that's come out of that side of the pond,
like grime,
drill, etc.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Americans that make fun of that genre of rap, but to me, it's like
Dizzy Rascal. I love.
Alright, don't stop, this right. Come on, don't stop, you're bleeding. Alright, got a screw face all night, all day. Screw face kids, brothers up paid. Screw face means keep on your waist away. Screw face means get out my way. Screw face means you don't know me. What you looking at? What's your beef? Screw face means I'm not having it. Screw face means I'm not a tune.
I mean, but Dizzy Rascal's around forever.
Definitely, Dizzy Rascal's been around for like 2 decades now. But he was way ahead of his time. You can hear his influence on American acts from the 2010s, like Tyler, the Creator.
The boy drips swag like a broken faucet, it's running. Nigga, I'm running. Shit, that cherry be the bomb like he ran and bounced. It won't stop till the cops around him. One nigga jiggy and the other awesome with his fucking face blown off, that's how they found him. This young T. Who that boy? Who him is? Who that boy? Who him is? Nigga, who that boy? Who him is?
And one of my personal favorites, Danny Brown.
Nosebleed on red carpets, but it just blend in. Snap pictures feeling like my chest being sunk in. Live a fast life, seeing many die slow. I'm happy when they left, so I try to seize them on. Funny how it happened, whoever would imagine that jokes on you, but say no one laugh at. Ain't it funny how it happens? Ain't it funny how it happens?
Talking about like the new cats, like, relatively new, because I mean they're like veterans now, but like Gigs.
That sums up all of you dumb fucks. Dum-dums without the gun. Shouldn't be for above 30. But man, I'm too bloodthirsty. Left that club drunk without the rum. Knife work, man's cutting out early. Y'all know nothing about 30. Talk is cheap. Anyone can outword me. I push man to the max, no mercy. They keep talking Game of Thrones, but if you look at the stats, I'm Cersei.
Eat 'em up, beat so tasty, gig so rude, yeah, gig so feisty. Pricks get bruised up, hit no safety. Pricks get moved up, bitch don't make me. You, him, her, that bitch don't rate me. You've been acting nervous lately. Dude got Captain murdered Bately. Broad day burnt up, slapped up weighty.
Jamie, who was the one that did the song That's Not Me?
You're not gonna get an answer out of me. I don't know.
Oh my god. You don't listen to grime music? Skepta.
Nah, that's not me. Act like a waste man, that's not me. Sex any girl, nah, that's not me. Lips any girl, nah, that's not me. Yeah, I used to wear Gucci, I put it all in the bin, cause that's not me. True, I used to look like you, but dressing like a mess, nah, that's not me.
Like, those artists, I don't think get enough respect in the US, but they created a sound that was unique, and you listen to it, it's like, oh, okay, these are UK cats, and they're nice. They have like logo skill.
I love the black
the
UK
production's
accent.
a little behind, but
I love the black the use.
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome.
The black UK accent is basically just a Jamaican accent with a little bit of Yorkshire pudding on top of it. It's just a patois accent.
Yeah.
But I like that they've actually like created something new and interesting and different. And I really hope that in Canada we'll be able to do this, given like how much like cultural richness there is to our metropoles and to the country. I think we can do a lot more than what we've been doing.
Yeah, and with the First Nations influence, there's certainly a lot of musical energy coming out of those communities as well, and plenty to talk about and plenty to get off one's chest. There are
I'm mad that it took me so long to find out like who Tanya Tagaq was. Or You know, I didn't hear about A Tribe Called Red until like late in the game, you know.
Now it's a living thing with you and living kings. I mean it, I mean it. Yasin in the R.E.D. I mean it. Original nation with Pansala, I mean.
So, and I think like, man, like the amount of like cultural cross-pollination that would be possible if people would just like listen to stuff that's out of, rather than just like listening to all the bullshit that's coming out of the US, like listen to what other Canadian artists are doing and see if you can find a way to like blend it into your sound. Like, I think we could create something like awesome and unique, but I think, you know, because everyone's like chasing album sales and chasing like, you know, numbers in Billboard chart listings, that they've ignored all of the cultural richness here to chase something that's already been like flattened to a pulp in the US.
Copy of a copy. I've always said if more Canadian rappers only listened to Gordon Lightfoot and Anne Murray, we'd be living in a much richer cultural landscape.
This is where you and I are going to part ways. It's nice talking to you. I'll see you later, Daniel.
I'm trolling.
And by later, I mean never.
Yeah, no, just a parting joke. Well, Andray, thank you so much for joining me. I mean, it's been as vast a conversation as our country, and you've educated me a lot. I think part of my way of coping with being Canadian over the years has been like, well, I'm like picking on the things that are lame about Canada, and in some ways closing my ears to the things that, you know, the really cool things, that the homegrown talent and all that kind of stuff. And especially having lived in the States for 10 years, there's a lot of stuff that I missed. So I appreciate your insight and your passionate, opinionated way of delivering it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. This was a lot of fun. But yeah, we got to do this again sometime.
I'd love that. All right, man. Take care. Be well.
Yeah, bro. Take it easy.
Don't let the posters bring you down.
They never do.
Take care. Bye.
How you guys feeling right now? Hold on a second. Shark listen, how the fuck are we feeling in Vancouver tonight? Hold on a second. I need everybody's hand up in the air one time. Let me see everybody's hand in the air. DJ Kimo, run that shit. We need more energy in here. Kimo, ready to go. Let's go. Sit it, and you don't stop. DJ, and you don't stop. And you don't stop. Yo. We don't stop. Ain't nobody get back with us. Rascal Jet back calling out the door. Stop there coming down with it. Yo, why you people wanna hang with us? Ain't nobody can hang with us. Rascal Jet back calling out the door. Stop there coming down with it. Check the lingo, we suck out the atmosphere. So the stick and flow of the style comes near. So when you hear, you got the pair over the legs. You get a glance to know who is the man with these hands. With the words like my body on the apple sky. It's the limits always on the way to the surface. With these rhymes that are classics and bring it to the fans on the fastest. World domination that makes it a foundation. No time wasted, firehawk, we chill blazing. Burn to the next destination. Flex on this world exploration. Team with the best in the nation. Hey, yo, who that be? Cause I'm designed for in the salary. All the way from T-Dot to the Man City All-Star crew. Boys sticky like a fantasy. What up, yeah? From the Northwest to the T-Dot. Always out, yo. I like chillin'. Monday night raw, watch it. Yo, in the sky, no, in the town. My people know. I just be regular. In the start dissing. Steady. I'm saying my lyrics over my picking and knowledge. Following on your money, so much is true. People need to know. Stop there, moving no slow mo. Into women like a Kylo. Dollars in business. How you gon' feel when you see the 6 triple O wheels at the pill? Walk off a pill. Y'all know the deal. If you don't, that's a man. Why no? They'll tell you to serve, go rock the spot. Represent clever, no bustin' that rascal. And the cash flows indeed. Now we down to go slug a big deep.